Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for the Championship review and reaction for round 27. We are here in the evening tonight. We're normally here in the morning on a Sunday. However, I was on Blue Monday podcast duty talking about Ipswich drawing to Crewe this morning. We put a poll up on YouTube, democratic as ever, and the number one time that was requested was 7 p.m. So here we are right now, and we are going to be looking through each and every one of yesterday's championship games. Interesting game week of action. Obviously, we have had 11 games thus far, yesterday and Friday. We still have one to go, that being tomorrow night, which we'll be doing as a watch-along. That is Watford versus QPR. Let me know if you can see me, hear me loudly and clearly, and we will get into all of the action. We're going to go game by game as ever. Please get your comments in. If you really want to have your comment read out, comment on the game we're talking about, as I tend to focus on those ones. We can do a little bit of Q&A, depending on how long it takes me to get through these 12 games. We do like a waffle. Let yourself be known if you're here in the chat. Give me a big hello. Let's just do the plugs real quick. Thank you to Russ, our fan sponsor for the review show. Fan and now friend despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Well done, Russ. Russ has gotten involved over on Patreon. You can do the same, www.patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. As ever, you can contribute to the channel during the show via Super Chat. The first chat in any broadcast, I don't know whether it's happened because I haven't looked at the comments yet, will become the king of the bin and wins the sponsorship for the fake news sin bin, which hopefully we don't have to use. But buffoonery in the comments will not be tolerated. And as ever, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook or Twitter, please hit the thumbs up button. And obviously on YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. But the most important thing you can do is comment your opinion on the subject in hand. Here are your results for round 27. On Friday, it was Reading 3, Bournemouth 1. Early kickoff Saturday, Norwich 0, Borough 0. And then the 3 p.m s. Birmingham 1, Coventry 1, Blackburn 1, Luton 0, Brentford 7, Wickham 2, Cardiff 1, Millwall 1. Lots of draws. Derby 1, Bristol City 0, Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1, Forest 0, Barnsley 0, Rotherham 1, Swansea 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston 0. And as you can see there, tomorrow night, join us at 7:30 for Watford versus QPR on the watch-along. As ever, we will start at the top and work our way down. There, my friends, is the running order. If anybody in the chat asks, has he talked about so-and-so yet? Can you help me out and answer them and say the running order's down there? He's going in order. Just helps me not have to answer that inevitable comment that we do get every stream. Let's start at the top. And it was Norwich 0, Middlesbrough 0. And I think it's safe to say that Neil Warnock came with a plan that probably involved a 0-0 draw. And he got exactly what he wanted. Look at that Borough team there. Bettinelli, Fisher makes his debut at fullback. Fry and McNair and Boller, the other fullbacks. And then in front of the orthodox fullbacks, the two guys that have been used as Borough's wingbacks, Johnson and Spence. The idea that Fisher and Boller are basically going to man mark Cantwell and Buendia, and then the wide midfielders that are normally wingbacks essentially play as wingbacks, but will follow in as and when Aarons and Giannoulis get forward. it worked a treat. Cantwell got substituted. Buendia got sent off and Norwich didn't score. So I suppose that may be a blueprint for other sides going to Norwich this season. Howson, Morsey, Saville in central midfield. Balassi makes his debut up top. For Norwich, impressive looking team now after the winter injury problems for them. Krill in goal. Aarons, Hanley, Gibson, Janulis. That is the first time, I think, that they've had a kind of full strength back five, isn't it? Sorensen, the midfielder, has been playing left back for ages. Rupp and Skip, Cantwell, Vrancic, Buendia, Pookie up top. Not too much to talk about in this one. We've got a couple of pictures. Here is a chance for Mario Vrancic at 0-0. Pressure on the shooter from Dale Fry. If there wasn't, he's scoring that. And let's get straight into the refereeing stuff. And it's referee Stroud as well, one of our favourites, dearie me. So there is Emi Buendia. I think we're all okay with the first one. Catches Howson there, late, yellow card. The second one is a bit up in the air for me. I think sometimes you see this and sometimes you don't. So Buendia slides in. Saville gets there first. The ball's long gone. Buendia kind of then realises he's slid in and he's going to catch the guy and sort of pulls his foot out of the tackle. He still catches Saville. So by the letter of the law, endangering the opponent, it's probably a foul. Is it a yellow card? I don't know. I suspect 99.9% of football fans, were that to go against them, would say that that's not a yellow card. But 99% of football fans, were they in Middlesbrough shoes and the player had already been booked, would be appealing for the yellow card. I think he's been harshly done to a little bit there, Buendia. But hey ho, he was frustrated. He's that kind of guy, isn't he? Fiery old temperament. And the bigger issue now is that Buendia is obviously Norwich's best player, and Norwich's points per game with Buendia is laughably higher than it is without him, put it that way. And he's already been sent off this season, so he's suspended for 2 games. Millwall away, Swansea away. So that's not the best news, but hey, Norwich have managed to answer every problem put to them this season. We'll see how they go with this one. I've said for a while you could take 10 players out of Norwich's squad at the moment, but as long as 2 of Buendia, Pookie and Aarons are there, they'll be all right. But Buendia is the one, isn't he? They have struggled without him in comparison with him. There are the numbers: 62% possession, Norwich, but no shots on target. The one big chance in the game, I guess that was Vrancic's, goes wide, and Borough get the point. Have a look at the table, though. It's first world problems for Norwich, isn't it? They're still 4 points clear at the top, 6 points clear of automatic, and look, it's a draw. They kept a clean sheet. Even if teams do come and use that system, will they do it in as organised a fashion as Borough did? The bigger, more pressing issue I would think Norwich fans would be worried about would be the absence of Buendia, particularly when facing the very durable second place Swansea and a hard away trip, albeit Millwall in 16th. It's never an easy place to go, as the cliche goes. Borough, 2 defeats before this, a couple of home defeats as well. They've had their COVID issues. They're back at it, Warnocking, and they'll be very, very happy with the draw. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Right, Norwich dropping points and Buendia out for Swansea game. Couldn't have asked for more, says Brickan. Second yellow was harsh. Thought he pulled out. Yeah, he tried to pull out, didn't he? It's so subjective. It could be, it couldn't be. We've got a super chat in there from Steve. Thank you so much, Steve, who becomes the king of the bin. Steve helped out the other night with a super chat. Very, very kind. Thank you, sir. Mr. E, I thought Borough looked decent all game, but not especially threatening. Norwich, a bit underwhelming, even with 11. Tino, lacklustre performance by Norwich, great performance from Borough with a plan that worked out well. Tries to pull out, very, very harsh. See, look, we're down the middle on this one. I thought second yellow decision was correct. Chris says not as harsh as the one at Huddersfield. Norwich have only won one league game in 2.5 years without Buendia. It shows how consistent he's been in getting on the pitch as well. Harsh red for sure. Second yellow for Buendia was harsh, but wasn't incorrect. So we're totally down the middle with this one, aren't we? It's completely subjective. I don't think it's the worst decision you'll ever see, but it might be harsh. I've played the fifth on it. Norwich are clinical, but haven't set the world alight despite being top. Reading, Brentford done extremely well. I think the numbers say, not meaning to push back, big bed, small man, the Norwich aren't clinical. I think Farker's been complaining about the shot conversion. Ben, with your slick back hair and undone shirt. Look, I was in the bath, Charlie. I was enjoying Liverpool, West Ham and Mo Salah, and I stayed in there a bit too long. My apologies. Steve, I will come to that one in just a sec. In fact, it's time to move on to second place, Swansea, who I'm calling durable Swansea now, who just are getting the job done. And away they go to Rotherham and win 3-1. So get your comments in on this one. Rotherham 1, Swansea 3. I'm calling them durable Swansea because how they got away from that Brentford game with a point, that was quite miraculous after going down to 10 and conceding the goal. They still managed to keep their undefeated streak going. So they're on one at the moment, Swansea, aren't they? Woodman in goal in this one. Cabango, Bennett, Guay, Grimes, Hurahan, Danda, Bidwell and Roberts, wing-backs, Ayew and Lowe up top. Similar looking shape for the Millers. Ihekwa, Wood, MacDonald, Ola Sunday and Harding, wing-backs. Wiles, the other MacDonald and Lindsay. Crooks off of Matt Smith up the top. And a couple of really good goals in this one. Where's that going? Look at that. Set play. It's laid off by, it's knocked back, I think, by Lowe, who you can see number 9 in the corner of the pitch. I think I'm right. Danda in the mask there, knocks it back to Hurahan, and it's just really good technique, isn't it? He slices across that, and once it goes in between those two Millers there, curving inwards, Blackman is getting nowhere near that. 2-2 for Hurahan since arriving at the Swans, who just don't need a striker, do they, evidently? This is a good finish by Matt Grimes. I think it's poor from Blackman, though. Again, the cross comes in and he kind of leans back and he palms it away. And all I'm saying is if he doesn't touch it, I think it goes straight out for a goal kick. He's then in totally the wrong place. You can see he's just getting up and he's trying to move to the middle of the goal. Grimes hits it really well. Give Grimes the credit for taking advantage of a sort of desirable situation there. But he only finds the corner there because, his shot's accurate, yes, but Blackman, I just think, doesn't cover himself in glory for that one. Two things can be true. Don't go at me. It can be a good strike and bad goalkeeping at the same time. This is a great leap by Ladapo, their standing jump. And we know Roberts has got a good vertical leap after he outjumped Amiobi in one of our watch-alongs. Ladapo heads that one in for 2-1. I think this goal's even better, actually, from the Swans. It's a brilliant goal. When I first saw it, I thought, Fulton just kind of swung a leg at that. But it's a fizzed-in cross. I think, is that Bidwell over on the left? And Fulton kind of angles his body and sort of flip reverses and turns the other way and smacks it in first time near post. Before that as well, really good transition from Swans. Bang, bang, ball down the line, cross, finish. It's a brilliant goal in my humble, not so esteemed opinion. Let's have a look at the numbers. You can see there. Tight game. Swans just clinical. Look. Okay, 13 shots to 6 in Rotherham's favour, but only 2 on target, 5 for Swans, 7 corners apiece, 1 big chance apiece, plus Rotherham hit the woodwork. So you can just see Swansea coped with the problems that playing Rotherham brings you and clinical finishing. I always say I like the balance of the Swansea team in terms of Flow, good going forward, but very solid at the back and well organised, keep good shape. And they're on a great run, aren't they? And now, if you look at that top 5, spoiler alert for the next couple of games, all of the top 5 have scored 10 points in the last 4 games. Every single one of them. So that's not the last 4 rounds because they haven't all played in the last 4 rounds because of COVID. But the tide is rising at the top. And Swansea are very much a part of that in second place. Rotherham having a good crack at the bottom. The tide is also rising at the bottom. That means everyone in the middle must be losing by process of deduction. But Swansea are Rotherham, are 3 points adrift there of Forest, still in the bottom 3. Everyone's won games recently, except for Wycombe. So Rotherham are still in it, and some reasonable signs here. Let's have a look at your comments. What have we got here? 3 great finishes, says Liam. Agreed. Some cracking goals for the Swans yesterday. Agreed. 3 great goals, some awful defending for the Rotherham goal. Give Ladapo some credit. That was a really good leap there. All 3 central midfielders scoring. Who needs a striker? Yeah, right. If Norwich get a win or a draw, Brentford can overtake Swans with the game in hand. We'll talk about Brentford in a minute. Might take about half an hour to do, given them 9 goals in that game. We were beaten by a far better team, but that result won't define our season. February might. Look at these Rotherham fixtures Ian's put up there. Derby, Forest, Rangers, Preston, Cardiff. Woo! Hurahan been giving Grimes some tips by the look of things. Swansea remind me a lot of Forest, but just a better version. 14th on the XG table, but a very solid defence. Brentford will overtake them soon, in my opinion. Yeah, interesting comparison. Speng. They're a better football team than Forest were last season. I didn't realise they were quite so low in the XG table, but hey, clinical will put you high in the XG table, wasn't it? Let's have a look here. Tricky match, 3 points on to Norwich, and then there's a run of winnable games. Every game's winnable when you're second in the league, isn't it? Great stuff. Swansea haven't scored more than 2 very often, have they? I'm not entirely sure. Meant the defending leading up to the finish. Can't know it was a great header. Agreed. Right. Who is next? Brentford. Right, here we go. I'll try and flip through this because Brentford decided, and Wycombe between them, to score 9 goals in this game. So we will have to move very quickly. And Ivan Toney will be very pleased to know that he has been belatedly credited with the hat-trick after Tarek Fosu was credited with one of the goals incorrectly, according to Goal Line Tech. Yesterday, there is your Brentford team. Raya, Dalsgaard, Pinnock, Sorensen, Henry, De Silva, Jensen, Godos, Fosu, Toney, Kanyos, no Mbuemo in there up front. Still no Pontus Janssen. Who's dropped out from midfield there? Janelt, not in there. So Brentford rotating in Janelt's state. I don't know what's happened to Mbuemo and Janssen out for a while. There's your Wycombe team. Also, Grimmer, Knight, Charles, McCarthy, Wheeler, Thompson, Adinarian, Onyedinma. New look front 2 there. Musquet, Ikpeazu, who are both going to score. And so is half the players, or so are half the players on the pitch. Right, let's do this nice and quickly. 1-0, Ethan Pinnock, set play, half volley. 1-1, brilliant goal. Superb goal, in fact. Ikpeazu, that doesn't even do it justice. I mean, it's a great finish to curl it in from there. Is Musquet offside and in Raya's line of sight? Let's ignore it. Let's just ignore that because it was 7-2. Maybe a little bit of a mistake there. But they won 7-2, like I said. But brilliant dribble and curler from Ikpeazu. 2-1. Now, this is actually Ivan Toney's first goal. And it looks pretty blindingly obvious from there, doesn't it? Toney's shot, spilled. Fosu follows it in and puts it over the line. But it had indeed already gone over the line. 2-2. Now, Musquet heads that one in on the back post. Now, this goal is definitely Fosu's. Drives that one in with the right foot. I think it's a bit of a weird one, actually, because the ball kind of came out of the air and it looked like it was a handball by a Wycombe player and it wasn't given. And then Tony just slips it to Fosu. 3-2. You keeping up? 4-2. Tony. What makes me laugh with Tony's penalties, he walks down the middle, stares the keeper, and it always works. Always works because he's still got the plan for the corner there. Just makes me laugh how Troy Deeney and Ivan Toney have exactly the same penalty routine every time. They both always score, but both their techniques couldn't be any different. This is a great goal. Good move. De Silva knocks it back to Canos. Great technique across himself into the other corner. 5-2. Keeping up. Here comes 6-2. Tony in behind. I couldn't get a good angle on whether that was offside, but all of a sudden he was just miles in behind the defence. But what are you going to do? And that is, in fact, the hat-trick. Not that he knew it yesterday. And there is Josh De Silva with a typical Josh De Silva goal coming in off the right, curling it in left-footed. Did we manage to do that? I think we managed to get through nice and quickly. 7-2. We had, was it 7-0 that Brentford beat Luton last season? I can't quite remember. We had to count up to 7 for them last season, as you can imagine. Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at that big chances number. That is the highest of the season for sure. 9 big chances for Brentford. God knows what the XG was in this game. They put 7 on the board. 0 big chances for Wycombe. They still managed a couple of goals. I think we need say no more when a 7-2 occurs. Needless to say, that puts Brentford ahead now of Blackburn in terms of being the top scorers. And God, I've lost count. 18 undefeated now. What a run by Brentford. And I think someone, Hal, pointed out, it's the game in hand this midweek. They could go to 51 above Swansea. And then, very desirably for Brentford, they will be sandwiched in between Norwich and Swansea if they do beat Bristol City. On the day, Norwich and Swansea play each other. So a win, and they could be looking good next weekend, Brentford. Wycombe, the rising tide, and obviously the fact they've only scored 15 points in the first 24 games. Wycombe are 11 points adrift of safety with 22 games to go. They essentially need to claw over a point every second game between them and whoever is in 21st place. Let's have a look at your comments. Lee, legend. Thank you. Very, very kind. Great supporter of the channel. Thank you, Lee, for a £5 super chat. What have we got here? Let's find. Got to say, Brentford's penalty was shocking to make it 3-2. Yeah. What was it? Canos quickly nicking it off the opponent when he was trying to clear it. Yeah, it's soft, but hey, 7-2. Not quite often, they've still won by 4. Really pleased with the development of Fosu. Brentford in developing a player shock. De Silva was outstanding as usual. Tony back on the score sheet thrice. Lovely stuff. Brentford were lucky. The 7th goal should have counted. I'm confident that Wycombe would have made a comeback at 6-2. I like that. That's tremendous. Wycombe should have had more points this season. They've been very unlucky. Well, you have to be very, 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 very unlucky. 15 points from 24. Remember, no points in the first 7 games. The majority of Bees fans agree it's not a penalty. Doubt it would have changed the scoreline. Spain says, Mbuemo, minor injury. Brentford cannot play without Janelt until Norgard is back. Janelt has been Brentford's best player this year, and De Silva will play for England one day. Confident comment there, like that. Tony is Premier League class. Can I do a live stream for deadline day? I'm going to get up early and we'll plan everything out tomorrow. How many of Tony's goals have been pens? Not sure. 3 or 4, I guess. Less than Deeney's probably. Brentford look good at the moment. Long way to go. Nice. Brentford sloppy at the back yesterday. Expect that to change, but the chemistry in the second half was enjoyable to watch, unless you are from Wycombe. Right, Watford. Have we got the table up there? I haven't. Watford play QPR tomorrow night, so we will move straight on to an excellent performance from the Royals of Reading, which we did as a watch-along. Reading move on to 11 points from the last 5. Really good form by Reading, and they gave Bournemouth a bit of a hiding, especially in that first half. On Friday night, Raphael, Holmes, Morrison, McIntyre, Richards, Yidam back on the bench, Moore in the Sky Studio, so he's still injured. Laurent Renamotor, Elise Swift, Ijaria, Zhao up top, Maite back on the bench. For Bournemouth, Begovic, Stacey, Mepham, Cook, Rico, Lerma, the other Cook, and Billing, King. I'm sure we'll be talking about him a lot tomorrow. Solanke and Danjuma up top. And it's just a really, really good first half by Reading. And Reading are one of those teams where once their plan starts to come to pass, it's very easy to play into their hands and for it to get worse quickly. That's exactly what happened to Bournemouth. Bit of a muggy goal here. The set play goes to the back post. They're looking for McIntyre. It falls. He shoots it goal. And the rebound falls nicely for Josh Laurent. 1-0. McIntyre then follows up. You can see Elise just peering around the corner there, number 7. His free kick is not very well parried out by Asmir Begovic. And this is a great goal by Lucas Zhao. Slid in, and how many times do we see this trick? He controls it. He draws back that boot for that powerful shot, dummies it, lays Steve Cook on his backside, and then just curls it in the other corner. Lovely stuff from Lucas Zhao. Bournemouth much better in the second half, but the game state was clearly that Reading were sat back, and Bournemouth only really got through. Hang your head in shame, Alpha Semedo, one of the worst bits of free kick walling I think I've ever seen, where the ball goes exactly where he was standing. He kind of goes like this and moves out the way, and it goes around him. I'm sure certain pundits, I don't know, Graham Souness, Roy Keane, would be saying, take it in the face, take it on the chest. Deary me, don't turn out of the way. But there you go. Does not detract from an excellent performance by Reading. And let's, again, just go down to that big chances number. 5 big chances to 0. 9 shots on target to 5. Could have scored more than 3. And when they get in that point where they're in shape and they've engineered the game state to the point where the other team are chasing, they're really good, Reading. They just pick you off, don't they? Very impressive stuff from Veljko Paunovic, who's transformed exactly the same players, plus Josh Laurent and Michael Elise, a bit more developed, that Mark Bowen had last season. So tip of the cap to him. Jason Tyndall is in a bit of a struggle here. Let's not all pile on. He's a new manager. He's only been in the job 26 games. First bad run, but the games do get easier. What I will say is if Bournemouth have, look at that, 1 point in 4. If they were to score less than a point per game for the next 5, he's in big trouble because the games get easier. But I would suspect that the higher ups at Bournemouth will be looking at the next games, thinking that he could be doing, much closer to 2 points per game than the pathetic 0.25 points per game he's got from the last 4. Reading right in there, aren't they? 47 points. But like I say, unfortunately for Reading, the only blot on this is that every single team in the top 5 has got, as Brighton take the lead against Tottenham. Surprise, surprise on the other screen there. Every single other team in the top 5 has got 10 points in the last 4. So unfortunately for Reading, it's only Bournemouth that you can see that they've taken 9 points out of Bournemouth in 4 games. Let's have a look at your comments. What are you guys saying? Really good first half from Reading, and then the second half they just shut up shop, didn't give Bournemouth any clear-cut chances. Agreed. Reading are great with their players back. Probably the only team I'm worried about playing again. I think Brentford and Reading are 2 similar teams. Yeah, I think generally Brentford are more set up as an attacking team, slightly different plans, but hey, they're trying to breach the parachute cartel, aren't they? So I'm all for it. There we go. Happy to see what we can do. Happy to see what we can do. A big team with our good players. I think I know what you're getting at there. RFC fans. Not sure on streams this week. I'll schedule the week on Monday. Screw it. I'm going to stick my neck out on the line, say we're going to beat Brentford 3-1 next Tuesday because they will play into our hands and we will do what we do best. Well, that will be the maximum upside. Philip says, Tony, 5 penalties. There we go. In the league. My data analyst friend, Jay, doesn't include penalties. He says he learns nothing about a player from penalties, interestingly. Impressed that Paunovic stressed the importance of the game in the build-up. So many managers just waffle. Well, I thought my voice had broken. About all games being equal, shows a confidence in his team. What else we got? 5 vital games on Tuesday night. All early kickoffs. Go on, Ben. You know you want. I think Iain wants the super stream. We'll get it planned out. Loving the hair today. The hair's awful, isn't it, today? What's the guy in Marvel called? Loki. With it just back. I think Zhao and Tony are the best strikers in the division. Reading have a great left back too. Yeah, Richard's on a similar level to Henry. Some really good players in there. Obviously, I'd include Pookie, Armstrong in there. Deeney when he wants to as well. Some decent strikers in the Championship. Moving on. And we talk about Blackburn and Adam Armstrong. Get your comments in on this one. Blackburn 1, Luton 0. Blackburn are matching those top 5 teams. 10 points in 4 for the Rovers. Nice little run. Still a little bit unsure that just the top 6 looks fairly locked up, doesn't it? Other than Bournemouth slipping at the moment. But we think they'll regress to the mean, which is a good thing for them over the next 5 or 6 games. Blackburn making a little chase now. Can they get another 8 to 10 points in the next 4 games? And then I'm sure there will be even closer. Kaminsky in goal. Nyambe, Lenihan, Braithwaite and Douglas. Rothwell, Travis, Downing with a rare start. Elliott, Armstrong, Brereton up top. For Luton, Sluga, Lockyer and Bradley centre backs. Pearson and Potts, fullbacks. Ray, Dewsbury Hall, I won't do it. And Panzu, central midfield. Clark and Cornick wide. Collins up the top. Here is the goal in this one. 85th minute as well. Adam Armstrong. It's a nice goal, actually, clipped in. You can see Big Gallagher nearest to us in the penalty box. Heads that across. Armstrong does the business there. 3 in the middle of the box. Heads it in, and it was like the good old days, wasn't it? Tony and Armstrong banging in the goals like they were seemingly every game earlier in the season. Pick the bones out of this one. That is going to be flicked on. I think, is that Bradley? He's look diagonally behind where the ball's going. That's where it falls. I mean, he looks offside there. It's impossible to tell from this angle. It then goes across and hits the post, and that little clutch of 3 players then on the far post, and the ball goes in. I think you could see the linesman mouthing first header. So he's saying they were offside from the first header, I'm sure. If we've got any Luton fans in, they will give us a bit more of an insight on that one. Tight one, but reasonably viable in terms of Blackburn. 57 on the possession, 10 shots to 7. Only 2 shots to 1 on target, though, so it was tight. 3 corners apiece, 1 big chance to 0. Maybe not that viable. But they get the win, Blackburn, and 8th position. But, as I keep saying, all of the top 5 have got 10 points in the last 4. So have Blackburn. So they've made a lot of ground on Borough and Bournemouth. I suppose Bournemouth's their target, and they're 3 points behind them. Game in hand for Rovers on Borough. as well. Luton, 3 defeats in 4. Normally a bit more reliant on their home form, so they'll hope to get back to the Kenny and get back to the top half. Little 3-point gap has opened up between the top and the bottom half there between Barnsley and Luton. Let's see what your comments are on that one. Luton deserved the goal, I think, says Hal. Nick says, I'm not happy with the ref. I take it a drop ball because our man was hurt. Ref dropped the ball when we were not ready. Ref has apologised to Luton, but it's too late. Interesting. Was that led to the goal? Not good. Blackburn did take advantage of that drop ball by going direct instead of the usual slow build-up, but nothing against the laws. Is it unsportsmanlike conduct? But then what defines that? The teams just outside the playoffs can smell cherry red blood. Blood in the water. And the Sharks are circling. Can they be consistent enough, though, is the answer. Speaking of consistent, let's talk about Derby and their defending in particular. Derby 1, Bristol City 0. 3rd straight win for the Rams. Excellent stuff by Wayne Rooney. One bit of bad news, injury to Christian Bielik. We'll see how that pans out. He's been really good, hasn't he? There are your teams there. Marshall, Byrne, Wisdom, Clark, Buchanan. Bielik, Shinnie, Knight, Bird gets a start there. Obviously, Holmes is gone now, isn't he? Josh Viak, Kazim, Richards up top and still scoring. We all thought in comes a striker in January to Derby. Nope. Well, still a day to go, isn't there? Bentley in goal for Bristol City. Hunt, Callis, Mawson, Rowe, Viner and Narge. Central Viner's playing every game in midfield now. Palmer, Semenyo, Jeju and Wells. So plenty of attacking quality in those last 4 players I just read. But evidently they weren't showing it here. And Derby keep yet another clean sheet. Now, it's a rarity. This goal gets 2 pictures because the assist is so damn good. Look at that. Where's that one going from Lee Buchanan? It looks like the Bristol City defence is set quite well. Everybody's goal side. The line's high enough. There's enough of a gap for Bentley to be safe, unless you get across like that. Look at that. Brilliant stuff. Suckers in the centre half there. Is that Mawson or Callis' blow pitch? I can't tell. Kazim Richards on the back post. Slots it in. Beautiful. We have team of the weekend, don't we? And goal of the weekend. That's probably assist of the weekend, isn't it? Brilliant stuff by Lee Buchanan. And that was the only goal. Get your comments in whilst I have a look at the numbers. And yeah, look, just not giving away any chances, are they, Derby? 2 shots on target, no big chances conceded, no corners even conceded by the Rams. They're just doing the business defensively. 1 big chance, goal, exactly the same as at QPR. 1 big chance, goal, and Kazim Richards on the score sheet as well. And as you can imagine, look down in 18th. Derby are flying up the table, as you do when you're anywhere really outside of the top 10 and you win 3 games on the trot. You'd normally expect to fly up a few places, and they indeed have. So 9 points in the last 3 games. There is good form before those back-to-back defeats as well. So more good work by Rooney and Rossinia there. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking at that as a hard game during the second half of the season now. Derby. So the Derby fans will hope that continues. And as usual, I'm not talking about the takeover until it happens. Bristol City just inconsistent now, isn't it? Lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. It's gone for a fair old while. 12 wins is great. 11 defeats is not great. Look down there. Sheffield Wednesday have got 11 defeats. So have Birmingham. And so have Bristol City in 9th position. A big picture. It's not bad for them to be in 9th, but I don't know where this is going. I'm not seeing the development of the team. I'm not seeing. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a bit blah about where Bristol City are going with this now. Despite the fact they're in a good position there in in ninth. The big mitigating factor we'll give them, though, is they've still got like 5 sort of first 18 squad players to come back in the next 6 weeks. So maybe I'm being a little bit unfair on Holden there in terms of developing the team, because how can you when half of them are on the treatment table? Any news on Bielik? Anybody? No news yet, but doubt he'll play. Oh, that's terrible news if that is the case. William, not good. Well, I can't explain that. We were absolutely dreadful in the final third. Palmer not effective. Patterson back soon, and the formation decisive. Your eye, Semenyo was constantly covering Hunt. Oh, okay. We are awful at the minute, Ben. Wednesday will be a bloodbath if we don't turn up. Watching the game behind the sofa. Is that the Brentford game? Yes. Nasty one. Do you reckon the change of system has helped Derby's defence? Well, I mean, they're back to a back 4 now. They had used a back 3 a couple of times. I think it's a change of philosophy and just a change of impetus rather than any change of system, but certainly working. Derby could be real spoilers for the rest of the season. Playing on our pitch is hard enough, yeah. Fair dues to some of the groundsmen, what they're, to get these games on at the moment in the middle of winter with just endless rain at the moment and snow recently. So for Derby, we don't have too much squad depth. No, not anymore. Further 2-3 injuries will start to struggle again. As always, depends who they are to, doesn't it? But small squad. That is a fair point. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1. Get your comments in on this one. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 1. Stoke drawing again. I don't know how many times it is this season now. Not as many as Millwall, I don't think, yet. There are your teams. Schofield, Pippa and Toffolo, fullbacks. Sarr and Keogh, centre-backs. Bakuna, Vallejo, O'Brien, Aarons, Campbell and Benza up the top. Stoke are in, they've changed to back 4 now, haven't they? Gunn, Collins, we might hear more in terms of him and Burnley tomorrow. Suter, Chester, Norrington, Davis, Allen, Mikel, Thompson, Clark, Fletcher, McLean up top. Let's have a look at the goals in this one. Bit of a muggy first one, wasn't it? Nicely set back for Pippa, but big deflection on that one. That is going to fly to Angus Gunn's right-hand side off the deflection. But, as I always say, if you don't shoot, you don't score. And if you forced your opponents into a narrow, deep block, a deflection can be good practice rather than good luck. Here is the penalty. It's really poor by Keogh in the first instance. Corberon has got Huddersfield taking short goal kicks. Keogh tries to dribble it out, completely gives it away, and it's really poor from Sarr then. After that, he just goes to the ground so easily, and down goes Clark. Fletcher sticks the penalty in. Good penalty there, actually, really good one. Sends the keeper the wrong way and fizzes it sort of into the opposite top corner. Everything you'd want from a penalty. Reece Norrington Davis there. Who's that? Bakuna, I think. Blurry picture again. Norrington Davis goes through him just in first half stoppage time. I don't know who the referee was. Let me tell you. Because he red carded him. Referee Ward in that one. Red card for Norrington Davis. Again, we're in subjective land, aren't we? And was he endangering the opponent? Reckless. What's the other one? Endangering opponent, reckless, and I can't remember. Excessive force. Possibly all subjective, isn't it? Do let me know if the comments are still working. Hopefully they are. If not, I will open up YouTube on another device, else we might have issues again here with StreamYard. Please comment and I'll maybe open up on the other screen. Yes, they are. Thank you, guys. Let's have a look at the numbers. I should say, obviously, then Stoke survive the second half with the 10 men. So there are the numbers. Yeah, 71% possession, but 11 against 10 for an entire half. Huddersfield will be disappointed not to win it. But look at that from Stoke, 0 big chances in the game, let alone with 10 men. They know how to sit in there and defend. Let's have a look at the table. Stoke really slipping now. Look at that, 10th. Only 4 points off the playoffs, but it's been a really bad run from Stoke, and it must be 9 or 10 without a win. This run can't go on much longer, and we'll need a very good run to fix it thereafter. Huddersfield, well, it's a point, but they played against 10. Their home record's just dropped. Their away record has not been good either. And a little bit of a worrying slide, although big picture, we think Corberon's doing well, playing some nice football, but dropped to 14th. And, as I've said many times, a rising tide beneath them. And let's have a look at the comments on this one. Clear red, says Mr. E. Chris says harsh red. There we go. This has come out from Bielik's doctor, either his ligaments or dislocation of kneecap. Ouch. Although dislocation, is better than a ripped ligament, isn't it? So Alex says, I thought it was a good tackle, but by today's interpretation, it's a red card. Sad. Really, very easy to argue that lots of things are a red card now, isn't it? With those wordings, isn't it, Alex? So I take your point. Right, number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston 0, and Sheffield Wednesday, God forbid, have scored 13 points in the last 6 games. They, off the pitch, are a complete mess, and Chansiri still is coming out with crazy stuff, and the advisor guy is tweeting weird stuff, and it's as leaky as a sieve. No one will come in tomorrow. But they're winning games, strangely enough, under just the man who got left holding the chair when the music stopped, wasn't it? Neil Thompson at the moment. I wonder if they'll just go with him until the end of the season because the results are good. Paul Cook offered it for 6 months. Paul Cook said no. He's just hanging out for the Ipswich job, isn't he, Paul Cook? Obs. There are your teams in this one. Westwood, Lees, Hutchinson, God. Hagid, I think. Apologies, I always never know. Look that one up. Someone told me how to pronounce that one the other day and I've forgotten. Penny and Palmer wide, Bannon, Pelopessi, Reach, Patterson, Kachunga. For Preston, Ben Davis linked with Liverpool today. Dan Johnson has signed a new contract. Ben Pearson has gone. Alan Brown has signed a new contract. Ben Davies looks like he's going. I thought he'd signed a pre-contract for Glasgow Celtic, but all sorts of chitter-chatter about him today. Iverson, Brown, Huntington, Davis, Hughes across the back. Ledson, Whiteman in central midfield. Sinclair, Mollenby, Potts. Reese up the top. Bit of a scrappy goal, but who cares if you are a Sheffield Wednesday fan. There it is. Set play. Falls to Palmer. 7 yards outside. Puts it into the net, and that is all that was required in terms of goals for Wednesday to pick up yet another victory in this recent excellent run from them. Tight game, 59-41 on the possession, 10 shots apiece, 2 to 3 on target, 1 big chance apiece. But I cannot fathom or explain why or how, but I think we were joking about this earlier in the season, that the more chaotic it gets at Wednesday, the more points they get. As soon as it's settled, they go on a losing run. But throw some chaos in. 3rd manager of the season, 12 points to 6 points. Chansiri not shutting up in the press conferences. And they're on decent form. Obviously, they would be on 28 points were it not for the -6. But ifs, buts and maybes. They're certainly the informed team in terms of points over sort of a 6-game period, along with Derby and Forest until the last 2 games. But the tide has risen above them, and they're still in the bottom 3. God knows where they'd be if you turned that 13 points in the last in the last 6 to, 6 points in the last 6, which is the survival, which would be all right, they'd be level on points with Wycombe on 15. So it's been a well-timed little run from Wednesday. Let's have a look at your comments. Yeah, Ben Davies to Liverpool. I heard the very same here. Completely different on and off pitch for Wednesday. Need to continue this one, but a hard trip to Bournemouth now. Wednesday, strong defence at home. Thompson, Bookie's job. Bookie's favourite for the job now. Carl says, good team of the table lies. Palmer, first goal in 9 years. Wow. Unbelievable scenes there. Right. Let's move on. Oh, God, this will be quick. Forest 0, Barnsley 0. A clean sheet. But a quick little gander will tell you that Barnsley will be very disappointed. 2 big chances to 0 on their 12 shots to 6. 3-1 on target, 8 corners to 4. They will feel that they edged this tight-ish game. Let's have a look at the teams. The Forest, Samba, Christie, Figueiredo, Worrell, Bong, Cafu and Sal. Cafu dropping back into the double pivot to allow for Filip Kravinovic to make his debut there with Knockaert and Amiobi. Graben up the top for them. For Barnsley, well, Collins seems to have replaced Walton now, and Civic seems to have replaced Solbauer. I thought that was just for the FA Cup, but no, for the league as well. Civic, Hellick, Anderson, Britton and Styles wide. Kane and Mowat central. Looks like they're going to keep Mowat, doesn't it? Although a day to go. Chaplin, Woodrow, Freeser up the top. I got a couple of pictures, and I mean, despite what I said about big chances in terms of Barnsley, look at this. Anthony Knockaert, who some would think is quite a selfish player here. Why is he passing that to Graben? Look, Graben's offside. Knockaert with what looks like a fairly easy shot to the keeper's left there, but he passes it and Graben's offside. Graben missed the one-on-one as well earlier in the game. There's Corley Woodrow. You see a bit blurry and white. 7 yards out, middle of the goal header. Cannot find the back of the net. We've already had a look at the numbers. Let's go straight to the table. Forest are one of those teams where I say, if you're a pragmatic team, you're only ever one defeat away from, when you draw a lot of games, essentially, from a winless run. And 1 point in the last 2 after 12 points in 6 for Forest. But they've got their heads above water, haven't they? Have they done enough organising in the January window? I wonder if they'll send out 1 or 2 others tomorrow from that squad that we always describe as bloated. Barnsley, well, 5 without a win. Mitigating factor for the Tykes is that 3 of those were against Swansea, Norwich and Watford. I think they'll be a bit annoyed that they've been 2-0 up against Cardiff and drawn, and that they seem to have had a couple of good chances and not been able to get on the score sheet in that one as well. So a bit of a rude awakening. But hey, if that's the size of a bad run for Barnsley and they now come back and, sort of score 6 to 8 points in the next 4 or 5 games, I think they're going to find themselves in that top half. If they can do that, let's hope this run, for their sake, does not continue. PJ says Houghton isn't making many changes during games. No. He'll do everything as stoically as possible, won't he? Lee, not a great performance from Barnsley in this game. It's a typical 0-0 draw. Styles, Merton, Woodrow have been fairly quiet in the last few matches. That's probably good news for you, Lee, in deadline month, isn't it? However, Kane and Freeser are surprising you in a good way. Forest apparently want more signings tomorrow. Forest don't need more signings. They've got good players that should be higher in the table. Organise them and make the signings in the summer, for goodness sake. Drop points, says Carl, for Barnsley. Kravinovic played 1 game and I would give him player of the year already. I like that. I think Civic is chosen over Solberry. He's quicker. Interesting. Not sure about Collins. Well, yeah, me neither. On paper, Forest's front four is one of the best in the league. If you have Graben, Knockout, Lolly, Kravinovic, looks decent, doesn't it? But yeah, they've got to get it done. That's me done. See you soon, Mr. E. Graben, that is poor to stray offside from there. Yeah, you never quite know whether it was the player straying offside or the other player delaying the ball. But Glenn Murray and Joe Lumley to sign tomorrow. I maybe want us to get relegated just to show how much we're really worth now, dearie me. You don't. You really, really don't. Forrester, carbon copy of Stoke last season. Awful start. Sack manager, sign anyone with a pulse. Nice. Right. How many to go here? 2 to go, guys. And then we can do team of the week and goal of the week as well. Cardiff 1, Millwall 1 in the Mick McCarthy derby. Millwall 3 undefeated now. Mick, surprise, has drawn his first 2 games. Every point is a prisoner, Mick used to say at Ipswich. Oh, but we're pleased to have him back. Smithy's in goal. 3 at the back for McCarthy. There is Glenn Murray on my telly right now doing Sky. Nelson, Flint and Morris, and McCarthy must love Flint and Morrison, mustn't it? And G and Bennett wide. A classic McCarthy double up, mirror the other team's formation. Rules, Bakuna, Volks, Ojo and more. For Millwall, Bialkowski, Leonard continues at centre-back, Hutchison, Cooper, McNamara and Malone, full-backs, wing-backs, Keefton, Belden, Woods. I think Keefton Belden's going to be popular there. Millwall seems to have gotten himself straight into that team. Wallace, Zahor and Thompson up the top. Weird old opening goal in this one. It's one of those ones where you think, how on earth does that go in? Spot the ball, by the way. It's just behind Aidan Flint, who is about to fall over. It looks like he's about to do the splits on the left corner of the 6-yard box. Jed Wallace has made a good run, dribbles it in. How Smithies dives out the way and leaves his near post there, I don't know. It just looks like there's no chance of that going in, but it does. Smithies obviously dives across and it goes the exact wrong angle from a Cardiff point of view. Big chance. Look at that for Ken Zahor. He's got to be scoring that, hasn't he, for 2-0. However, Mick will keep you in the game, won't he? And lovely goal. There's Harry Wilson, you can see. Not a starter yet under McCarthy. I think he wants solidity first before he adds Wilson in. But lovely run, diagonal run, straight pass, diagonal run then from Moore across. And Moore sticks it across the keeper, Bialkowski, old Ipswich teammates, those two, and sticks it into the back of the net. And the two most likely drawingest teams, well, apart from Stoke as well, draw. I think we all predicted that was going to be a draw as well. Didn't we? There are the numbers. Some chances in the game. Look, 4 big chances for Cardiff. I don't know whether they were set play business. They missed 3 of them. So not great from that respect. 17 shots, 3 on target, 57% possession for Mick. Interesting. Tight one, though. I suppose Cardiff will feel that they edged it by the numbers, but obviously game state, and if Zahor puts that one in for 2-0, then things look very, very different. These two teams are tied down there on 31 points, both just working on being hard to beat and hoping to, turn that into some victories as they go forth. There's only 1 defeat in 5 for Millwall now, but of course they need wins, don't they? Norwich is their next game, and McCarthy, I'm sure he'll do some business tomorrow. He'll sign a player that he's worked with before, inevitably. But let's have a look at your comments on that one. Jimmy says, apart from Matt Smith, we've had no teeth up front all season. Agree with that. We had all our front line fit for this one, and we still can't score. Yeah, not good. Not good. Millwall, Cardiff, last 7 games have been draws and 14 of the last 19. Mick McCarthy, 2 draws in 2. Welcome back. There he is. 2 attack-minded players for Cardiff. Harry Wilson changed the game for Cardiff coming off the bench. Moore had 1 good chance scored. So Hall had 2 good chances, missed both. Jed Wallace had his best game for ages. Well, that's good news, isn't it? Keefton Bell, player of the season after 2 games. Yeah. Lee says, I expected Barnsley to be fighting for survival. You'd be well safe, I reckon, Lee. Bad mistake by Thompson. I didn't realise that. Chris losing the ball. Wilson and Moore certainly punished that. Cardiff put quality balls into the box too, which we could. Yeah, I think Mick will like Joe Bennett as well, won't he, at wing back, and he will be servicing the box. Cardiff linked with Waghorn. There you go. So can you get Garner in there as well, Mick? One of them will end up there by the end of the day tomorrow. Right, last one, guys. Birmingham 1, Coventry 1. The Battle of St Andrews ends in a draw, which kind of sums up Birmingham's home form because they just don't win there very often, despite the fact that Coventry are kind of at home as well. But there you go. Etheridge in goal for Blues. Collins, San Jose, Dean, Pedersen, Sonic and Clayton double pivot. Bella, Terrell, Sanchez, Hogan, brother up top. Wilson, Pask, not sure if anyone knows about the player, let me know. Ostigard, Hyam, McCallum, Sheaf, James, Hamer, O'Hare, Biamu, Gyökeres up top. Let's have a look at the action in this one. 1-1 draw. This is poor from Sam McCallum. Really gets suckered in, goal, everything wrong here. I like McCallum, but wrong side, suckered in, rash challenge, penalty. And Jeremy Bella, probably the best free agent signing we've had in the Championship for the past season or so, sticks that one in from the spot. This is a horrible goal as well because the ball is going out. Adam Clayton tries to shepherd out. O'Hare nicks it off him, knocks it back to Sheaf, who knocks it to, James, knocks it to Hamer, who puts it in. And it is 1-1, a thoroughly preventable goal, but a thoroughly predictable outcome with Birmingham not managing to win at home again. And they will be a bit vexatious about the fact that they had 3 big chances to nil in this game and couldn't get the job done, Blues, but they just don't at home. At 9 corners to nil as well. However, 3 shots apiece on target, slightly more even with Coventry edging the possession. And Coventry just keeping themselves at arm's length outside of that bottom 7. We've said for a while, bit worrying for Coventry. I mean, Derby, we expected Derby and Forest to both really have had a better crack at the moment of getting there, but Derby are now just the 2 points behind. Coventry, 30 points, though. Let me just do a real quick points per game projection, although I've brought up the alarm clock instead of that. So 26 games, 30 points, 1.15 times 46. Is that right? That can't be right. 61 points. Is that right? 1.15 times 46. There you go. 52.9. You think they would be pretty well safe with anything approaching that. But we'll see how the tide rises. Birmingham, if you look, other than Wickham, are the only one down there in recent times not to have had a little quick splurge of point scoring. So bit worrying there. And I've had plenty of conversations in streams and stuff with people saying, "Oh, that Birmingham team, they shouldn't be down there." In particularly where they are, look like they've got a bit more quality than that. But there they are in 20th. Let's have a look at your comments here. Anyone on Birmingham, Coventry? I don't think we've got anything on there. Cardiff signing Johnny Williams. Are they really? Mick loves Johnny Williams. He's only like 3 times. Richard Corley's pretty good on Millwall and Charlton stuff, isn't he? So, yes. Right. Lee says Coventry will stay in this league. In all honesty, Coventry are a Premier League team. Premier League club, do you mean? Long term. Millwall in talk with George Evans. Is he another one that's played for Gary Rowett before? Right. Let's quickly do team of the week and goal of the week. It's quite hard not to go for Brentford for team of the week when they scored 7, isn't it? Sorry, I'm scrolling all over the place. Let me just bring the results up. Who's your team of the week? Let me know. Brentford scored 7. Reading with that brilliant first half. The only other winners are Blackburn and Derby both winning 1-0. Swansea with a good away win. Sheffield Wednesday, I'd be torn between Brentford and Reading. Obviously, the difference is Reading beat an ex-Premier League team, whereas Brentford beat bottom of the table Wycombe. Let me know what you think down here. Team of the week, Brentford. Oh, I can't read that, Annie. Demonetised. Reading, says Dave. Animation says Reading as well. Yeah, maybe I'll go for Reading. Goal of the week. I did a poll. Should we trust the poll? There it is. 39% went for Lucas Shaw, 22% Conor Hourihane. I had a few comments from Matt Grimes as well down there. I preferred Jay Fulton's goal, to be honest, but always listen to the people. Hey, and they say Lucas Shaw, so maybe we'll go with Lucas Shaw. Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Thank you to Steve and Lee with the super chats. Really, really kind. You can also support the channel over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. We'll be starting to make the Q&As weekly on Patreon now. And I'm going to be adding another Patreon exclusive show probably in the next month or 6 weeks or so. I just want to bed in the Q&As for a couple of weeks first and get into the routine. So please head over to Patreon, best place to support the channel. On YouTube, hit like, ring the bell, blah, blah, blah. And thank you for the super chats. Thank you as ever to Russ. If you want to shout out, ask for it now and I'll give it to you before we go. Russ is our fan sponsor, a fan and our friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. I will endeavour to plan out my week tomorrow morning. I've got to do my tribal football column first. Check that out, tribalfootball.com. Should be up mid-afternoon tomorrow. We will no doubt be doing Watford QPR tomorrow night. Between me and you, I've... Sky say Liverpool have agreed a fee of £2 million for Preston defender Ben Davies. So big story emerging there. Between me and you, I've applied for accreditation for Brentford v Bristol City on Wednesday. So all being well, I could be at that game. We'll see how we go. But just subscribe and ring the bell and hopefully you'll be notified of all of the streams as we go during the week. Don't cross the streams. Yes, I'll answer all of these. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. And look forward to another good week of content and interaction from you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Probably going to go and watch Netflix with the missus and sit with the dogs. Enjoy the rest of Spurs and Brighton if you are watching. And let me know also, however you want, if this slot is better than the morning slot. Easier for me, but it was nice to get that out of the way a little bit earlier in the day, going into voiceover voice there. Thank you very much for watching. And all that remains for me to do is say over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.